Deputy President Paul Mashatile is expected to deliver the eulogy today at the official memorial service of the late Labour Minister Membathisi Mdladlana in Cape Town in the Western Cape. Mdladlana's funeral was on Wednesday following a private cremation. SABC News reporter Lulama Matya is live to us from that memorial service. I understand that you'll be speaking to some of the mourners, Lulama. Are we getting a sense, like what we've seen during the course of the week, the kind of, or the caliber of man that he was, and of course the role that he played in democratic South Africa?
Welcome back to the University of the Western Cape, Griselda, at Jakes Gerwel Hall. What we are seeing, Griselda, is those parliamentarians, that group of 1994 MPs and ministers who have come to attend the special memorial service of the former Labour Minister Membathisi Mdladlana. Well, they are also young generation, but the older generation who has retired from politics, who has retired from serving government, are here. I am joined by a friend of the former minister. They went to school together. They were at Lovedale. So they don't only have a friendship in politics and in government, but their friendship goes a very long time ago. I am joined by the former Minister of Sport and Recreation at the time, as well as former Minister of Correctional Services, Ngconde Balfour. Good morning and welcome to the SABC.
Good morning, Sisi. Thank you for having me.
The former Labour Minister Membathisi Mdladlana is a friend to you. Talk to us about your friendship.
We come a long way with Membathisi, from the days that we were at school together, and after that in the field of teaching, and we've held that for a long time. So it is with sadness that I come here today to be with his family, and but also to remember the days that we had before when he was still Membathisi.
Talk to us about those days. What is it that you're going to remember him about?
His outspokenness, his friendship, and his being blunt about a lot of things, never hiding about behind a bush, but calling a spade and nothing else but a spade.
At this point in time, how do you think, because he played a very crucial role in education, in the formation of SADTU, becoming the founding president of SADTU, how do you think the education sector should remember him?
They should remember him first of all, for being a teacher. That's the first, most important thing. The second one is he managed to get teachers together and be able to address the ills of the department and make sure that teachers are treated as teachers and as professionals, as well as making sure that education gets to all our children all over the country.
As a friend, how are you as Ngconde Balfour going to remember him?
I always remember him as a friend, as a friendly person, as a very outspoken person, but also as a very, very close person to be able to talk to and to be able to sort out any problems that come up about.
And what would be your message to the family during this time?
Well, first of all is to say, ni yamkele bantu bakuthi lento, ni themba uThixo kuphela kuyo yonke into. Membathisi nimiyeka hamba lale ngoxolo aphumle.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Nkosisi.
That was former Minister Ngconde Balfour, who is a friend of the former Labour Minister Membathisi Mdladlana. The former minister is known for, amongst his roles, as being a teacher and a school principal. When I spoke to the former minister, Paulo Jordan, he said that even that his special memorial service is held at the University of the Western Cape is significant for his role that he played in education. I am joined by SADTU in the province, Griselda, to talk to us about his role in the education sector. Welcome to the SABC, sir.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity, and it's good to be here.
Mm-hmm. As SADTU in the province, how are you going to remember him?
Well, when the death of a stalwart like Utata Mdladlana, provides us with an opportunity to reflect on his legacy, lessons that we would have learned from his leadership, both within the South African Democratic Teachers Union and in government in general, and also to look back in terms of what we are doing currently, the current generation, in terms of carrying forward his legacy. As you would recall that he was the founding president of SADC, and most of us, and myself included, were still at school at the formation of SADC, and also the principles in terms of the formation of SADC. You would understand that SADC was the amalgamation of various teacher formations in the 80s that were divided along racial lines. So the life at Mdladlana would then provide us with an opportunity, especially we would have been proud of us currently as the current generation of leadership SADC, in terms of making sure that we reject the austerity measures that are prevalent across the country, and more so in the Western Cape, where the Western Cape Education Department has informed us they'll be cutting teacher posts by 2,400 posts as the beginning of 2025. Therefore, I think that we owe it to his legacy to make sure that we resist such dogmatic approaches from the side of the department. So that's how our message is to this memorial lecture, and how we hope to remember the legacy and the lessons Katata Mdladlana.
He is also known as that school principal who made sure that teachers are at school on time, learners are at school on time. On that front, as SADC, what are you going to do to keep up with that legacy?
We would describe Utata Mdladlana as a revolutionary in the true sense of the word, because we believe that you, as a teacher or an educator, you're more revolutionary in executing your duties. And as part of the policies of the organization post 1994, we have been at the forefront as SADC in terms of making sure that if you are a member of SADC, more so as a leader of SADC, your responsibilities are to make sure that you don't fail the African child. By members of SADC, we adopted a campaign a few years ago of SADC Fridays, where we're trying to conscientize all education workers and teachers in particular in terms of their responsibility on being on time at school, coming to school prepared, and making sure that, because most of our learners don't have any inheritance, and the only inheritance that they have is the education that we provide, and you can't fail that.
If there are things maybe that at the time of his departure he was unhappy about at SADC as a founding president, what are those things that you think you're saying things are not the same as they used to be in SADC, and how we must fix them?
As a younger generation, I would not have had direct contact with Tata Mdladlana, but what I, as a scholar of the organization, we teach ourselves about the history of the organization. What we can say is that there are differences, obvious differences. A new generation of leaders and members of SADC, but it's a generation that must be cognizant of the challenges that we are faced within education currently. Because I think what it would have been unhappy about would have been the slow pace of transformation in education. 30 years into democracy, and there is still a lot of disparities between a township school and former Model C schools in terms of the quality of education that's provided. I think that would have been one of the areas that I would have been unhappy about, because we all would have hoped that by now, 30 years into democracy, that the quality of education, the standard of education within our township school would have improved tenfold in that regard.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot, sis. Appreciate it.
Okay. Criselda, that was for Sumzi. He's representing SADC here in the province. As the former minister was an educator, a school principal, they are remembering his role here, because that is what is being highlighted. Even this special memorial service being held here at the University of Western Cape, some are describing it as significance in highlighting his role he played in education, especially in the emancipation of black learners in South Africa. With that, back to you at the studio.
All right, thank you very much indeed to my colleague Lulama Matya, who's coming to us live from that memorial of the late Labour Minister Membathisi Mdladlana.